Welcome into the show, everybody. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about a move I think the Ravens must make before taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. And then we're going to go into a little bit of why I believe that and what it means for the game against Pittsburgh. Welcome into Ravens Rundown. So happy that you are here. And if you guys didn't know, we are only 2 days into a week-long sub-battle with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we have retaken the lead. We're up 50 subs to 46, and we want to absolutely dominate them just like we're going to dominate them on Sunday. But if you need a little bit of extra juice, right? If you're like, doesn't matter, I don't care, listen to what Steelers Talk host Jack Sperry had to say about you guys and our Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens fans, you guys know who your daddies are. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last year, we swept you guys with the likes of Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. This time, it's going to be even worse with the Steelers offense led by Russell Wilson with over 30 points per game. And your stinky defense is going to really show its true colors on Sunday. And we're going to beat the crap out of you in this sub-battle too. So F. Joey Peterson, F. the Ravens Rundown, and here we go, Steelers.
I'm just personally sorry I put you guys through that. You know, hearing that voice to me, that's nails on a chalkboard. I don't know how anybody does it. But I hope it pisses you off just how much it pisses me off. So make sure you do one thing for me. That's go down, find the subscribe button, and hit it for me. What is going on? Alrighty, let's get into what I think this team needs to do. And I think it's simple. I think you need to, and I mean have to, shake up the secondary, okay? And whether that's moving Brandon Stephens to the safety position, and I'll talk more about that in just a little bit, or just giving some rookies some more playing time, I just think you need to do something different, make a change. And I'm not the only one who thinks that, okay? They asked John Harbaugh that in his press conference yesterday. This tweet comes from Jamison Henley. And this is what Harbaugh had to say. He said, you consider everything. I don't think that's any news story. We'll look at every aspect of it and pursue the best path with a great sense of urgency. So you have a little bit of excitement. Like, okay, maybe some things are going to change. Maybe some things are going to get switched around. Maybe Brandon Stephens will get moved to the safety position. A lot of you guys have been calling about that. A lot of the media members that cover Baltimore have been calling about that. But then Jonas Schaefer had this tweet right very closely after that last one and said, John Harbaugh said moving Brandon Stephens to a deep safety role is not on the table. He's focused on playing cornerback. And I don't get this. I'm going to get into this in just a little bit more, but it's a little frustrating to hear Harbaugh say, everything's on the table, right? We're going to look at everything. We're going to move with a great sense of urgency. Everything's going to be reevaluated. And then 10 minutes later say, yeah, you're not doing that. Yeah, we're not doing that. Why not, okay? I'm going to talk about that in more depth, but on just a surface level, it's kind of upsetting me, okay? So you guys make the call. Be John Harbaugh. Would you move Brandon Stephens to safety? If you think yes, type Y. And if you think no, give me an N. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break, and when that comes, make sure you scroll down the comment section, find this pinned comment, and give me a Y or an N. A wise man named Albert Einstein once said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And so that's my question for this whole thing. Why do we think just trotting out Brandon Stephens out there at cornerback, trotting out all these four guys, the same thing every single game, why do we think just doing that over and over again, things are going to change? Because we've seen this happen since game one when Rashee Rice went 7 for 103. And then Devontae Adams in game 2, 9 for 110 with a touchdown. Jamar Chase, week 5, 10 receptions, 193 yards, 2 tuds. Cortland Sutton, and a win against the Broncos, 7 receptions, 122. And then Jamar Chase, he should get arrested for what he did against this secondary last week. 11 receptions, 264 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So why? Why is moving Brandon Stephens to the safety position just not on the table? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because when you look at the safeties that you do have in Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson, Marcus Williams is when quarterbacks are targeting Marcus Williams, they have a perfect passer rating this year. Do you know how hard that is? It's not hard. It's pretty damn easy. Because I could be a safety, and every quarterback in the NFL would have a perfect passer rating against me, okay? So that's not very hard to do. Eddie Jackson, 144.9 passer rating when he is targeted covering wide receivers. You can't get two worse safeties than those two guys right there. And then Brandon Stephens at corner, He's had 555 yards against him so far through 10 weeks this season, which is third worst among cornerbacks in the National Football League. And so I ask again, John Harbaugh, why is it just not on the table? Something needs to change in the safety room. Something needs to change with Brandon Stevens and him playing cornerback. So why not just test it out? Because what you're putting out there right now just isn't plain good enough. Last in yards per game and pass percentage, the amount of times team pass against us. 28th in yards per pass, 29th in yards after catch, 30th in yards after catch over expected. And if you just look at the defensive ranks as a whole, this rush defense after 10 weeks, still first in the NFL. 73 yards a game. And honestly, guys, I think part of that is it's lockstep with the fact that this pass defense is so bad that I think people just don't run it, okay? So I think they're good, but I think a lot of that number one in the NFL number has to do is because people are like, why would we even try to run against you? We could throw a third grader out there and he could complete 6 passes because the pass defense, 294.9 yards per game. That is dead last in the NFL. And the overall rank in the NFL in yards per game is 27th. And we're going to look back at this list, okay, guys, of defending or of Super Bowl champions and their defensive rank since 2000. Right now, the Baltimore Ravens are sitting at 27th in the NFL. And if you look at how many Super Bowl champions have had a defense ranked in the 1 through 5 spot, it's 12 of them, okay? 50% of Super Bowl champions since the year 2000. And I don't mean to expose myself, but since the year I was born, half of them have had a top 5 defense. 5 of them, 21%, have had a top 10 defense from 6 to 10. 2 of them have been from 11 to 15, 2 of them from 16 through 20, and 3 of them of 21 through 25. What you don't see on that list is a 25 through 32. And that's because there hasn't been a single Super Bowl winning team since the year 2000 that has had a defense ranked from the 26th spot to the 32nd spot in the bottom 7. And guess where the Baltimore Ravens sit right now? You guessed it, the bottom 7. So something needs to change, okay? And I've got a couple of moves that I think might be the change the Ravens need to make. Number one, I think you do move Stevens to safety. And maybe not on Sunday, but I think maybe you start that transition right now, okay? That's going to take a while. It's going to be hard to move positions. But gosh, he's not working a corner, and none of these safeties are working. So maybe try something different. Number two, maybe try out Bo Bright. Okay, I know he had his warts in the preseason, but he also played a lot of really good football in the preseason. And I know he's covering and playing against wide receivers. A lot of them are working at Denny's right now. But still, maybe give him a shot. Again, it can't be worse than what you're trotting out there. Number three, you just traded for him at the trade deadline. Maybe he could be a spark for this defense. He's been his lockdown, solid quarter in the NFL before. Maybe give Trey White a shot. And then number four, I made a video about it last Friday. Sign Micah Hyde or sign Xavier Howard. Make a move in free agency. Those are 2 rock-solid secondary defenders right there that could be available for a cheap price. Xavier Howard just visited with the Bengals this last weekend, okay? Their secondary isn't as bad as ours, and they're trying to make some moves, okay? So those are the 4 things that I think the Baltimore Ravens might do and might need to do to fix this problem, okay? Can the Super Bowl be won by the Ravens with this defense? What do you think? Because right now, after what I've seen for 10 weeks, I'm kind of leading the HN category. And that stands for hell no. Give me an HY or an HN down below with what you think. Alrighty, I got to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of our video today, and that is our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. And Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need a win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. And I mentioned Taco Tuesday, and it's a Taco Tuesday today because they're running a deal for Mr. Jalen Brunson, discounting him from 25.5 points all the way down to 20.5 points. So obviously, I'm going to take the more on that. I'm also going to take the less on Patrick Mahomes passing yards this upcoming Sunday against Buffalo. I'm going to take the more for Jamison Williams rush yards at just a half. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. So why make the change now? Okay, why make one of those 4 changes right now? Well, you're going up against the Steelers, and Russell Wilson is honestly having a fantastic year. And historically, he's been one of the best deep ball throwers since he's entered the National Football League. And Russell Wilson had something to say this past week about his philosophy as a deep ball quarterback. He said, "I throw it to them so they could catch it. I try to give the guys a chance to make a play. But at the same time, you're trying to get the ball to the right guy in the right situation every single time." And he's been able to do that so far this year. And he's been able to do that in a really good way, okay? If you look at what he's been able to do with the deep ball and just his ability to complete passes this year, he's kind of on a different level, at least one that we haven't seen since the Super Bowl years in Seattle. He has 5 deep ball connections for 189 yards and a touchdown in 2 games, 36 completions on 57 attempts, totaling 542 yards, 3 touchdowns, 9.5 pass yards per attempt. That's first in the NFL with a qualifying number of attempts, and 8.7 intended air yards per attempt, which is consistent with career averages. And guys, you're looking at a guy who's been to 2 Super Bowls. Has he won 2 or has he won 1? I think he's won 2. We're just going to say that. Let's look at the wide receiver depth chart for the Steelers because they've got one of the better deep ball throwers, but they've also got some of the better deep ball wide receivers, and maybe the best in the NFL with George Pickens. You saw what he's able to do in the corner of the end zone against the Commanders. Mike Williams has been a great additional piece since they signed him or traded for him at the trade deadline. And since entering the NFL, Russell Wilson's completion percentage of plus 20 yards since he's entered the NFL in 2012 when he got drafted by the Seahawks is 41.2%. That's 3rd in the National Football League. And his amount of completions above 20 yards is 330. That's 1st in the NFL. So why do you need to make a change to the secondary? First, easy answer, they suck. Second easy answer is you're going against a quarterback who statistically in his career has been one of the better deep ball throwers of the history of the NFL, okay? So he's a guy that can pick you apart down the field. Do you think he's going to be able to pick this secondary apart down the field? I'm going to set the over-under at 250 pass yards for Wilson on Sunday. If you think he's going to hit the over, type O. If you think he's going to hit the under, type U. Thanks so much for checking in, everybody, with us right here on Ravens Rundown. As always, you guys know we are in a heated battle with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that sub button.